My best regards to Janie Eisenberg and the entire Newfield family, to Mac Barrett, Fran Barrett, my talented colleague, and to all tonight's great participants. It's truly my honor to participate in the 2020 Jack Newfield Lecture. I wish we could all be together to celebrate tonight. I'm sure we all do, but our challenges continue. My standard for journalism is a bit out of sync with today's reality. I now realize that I was actually spoiled in my experience. I grew up in the home of Mario Cuomo, learning about journalism from Jack Newfield and Jimmy Breslin and Pete Hamill and Wayne Barrett. They exemplified a different school of journalism. The concept of a journalist's dialogue being reduced to 280 characters in a tweet would be revolting to them. The full story is seldom that simple or neat. The significance and ramifications never summarily concluded. When journalism becomes just a function of he said, she said, one side said the world was round, the other side said the world was flat. Well, then you can't be surprised when half the population thinks that the world is actually flat. No, they taught me that journalism at its best was about finding the truth, as hidden, difficult, complex, or uncomfortable as that truth may be. I didn't know at the time that they were simply the best, and in many ways the last, of a higher endeavor. Now, that is not to say they weren't characters. They were. I remember the conversations when I was a kid with my father and Jimmy Breslin when they shared a bottle of scotch at a kitchen table in Queens. This was before they were both fully enlightened. Let's just say they would be brutally blunt in their assessment of the truth and the personal character traits of public officials at the time. I remember being surprised at how many elected officials were actually born out of wedlock. Jack Newfield was brilliant, unrelenting, and kind. He did not condemn as many as quickly to a fiery afterlife. He was patient with me, even though I knew he found me a slow learner. Wayne Barrett was one of a kind. Without compromise is a perfect title. Wayne was always in pursuit of the truth and could be a ruthless prosecutor, especially on politicians. But that was his job as he saw it. I remember as a kid listening to my father argue with Wayne for hours. And that was when arguing was arguing, when off the record meant off the record, and before dialogue had our current refined PC style. That's when they used four-letter words besides love. Back when telephones were attached with a long curly cord. On those conversations, my father would pace back and forth, and the curly cord would become taut as a tightrope. My father would love to say to Fran, "I don't know how you can live with him. You are so nice and smart and so reasonable. If you ever want a divorce, I will represent you for free," he would say. Wayne once said about my father, quote, "There's no one in public life who I have more respect for than Mario Cuomo," close quote. That from Wayne, who also wrote a story about my father's administration entitled, quote, "Cuomo's Sleaze Team." Is that a contradiction? No, that is Wayne. His personal feelings or judgment did not dissuade him from pursuing the truth in any specific matter as he saw it. There are facets to the truth, and Wayne pursued all of them. I remember Wayne called me up one day after I was governor and said that I had signed a law that changed policy for a public utility company. And he asked me if that public utility company donated to my campaign. I said, I don't remember if I signed such a law, and I don't know if the public utility was a donor, but I would check, I'd call him back. I called him back and I said, I did in fact sign such a law, and no, the utility was not a donor. Wayne then asked me if I ever heard of an investment fund, let's call it capital investments, and if they were a donor. I said I never heard of them, but I would check and I would call him back. I called him back and I said, No, Capital Investments Fund was not a donor. He then said, well, did you ever hear of a man? It's called John Smith. I said, no, I never heard of it. And I said, Wayne, I know you know all the facts. You don't ask a question that you don't have the answer. So just let's cut to the chase. Give me the accusation and let's address it. He said there was a man who was a donor to me and a partner in an investment firm, and the investment firm traded stock in the utility company. I said, Wayne, I have 20,000 donors. I never heard of the gentleman. And who cares if he traded stock in the utility? And as a matter of fact, I checked. The law I signed was a major negative to the public utility. So it could not be a benefit to a stock trader in any event. And Wayne said, well, that depends on whether the trader went long on the stock or short on the stock. You couldn't beat Wayne. I would say in the court of Barrett, you're guilty until proven innocent. And he would laugh that deep, guttural, self-satisfied laugh. That was Wayne, turning over every stone. Wayne was the first to disrobe Trump, the first to say the king has no clothes. He saw through the faux gold plating on the Trump name. He saw the true Trump story, greed and deception. He had the story on Trump's tax deals for a Grand Hyatt hotel, the celebrity con of The Apprentice, the scam which embodied Trump. He knew it first, and he was right. And if more of the American people had read Wayne, it would have saved this nation much pain and literally saved lives. Good journalism makes a society better. That is a simple and a true statement. Wayne made readers smarter, other journalists sharper, and my father and me and many others better public servants. And he did it all without compromise. We miss him. We miss them. We miss the truth. God bless you and have a good night.